Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. I'm sorry I'm a little under the weather. Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Good to have you here. Sorry, some allergies are kicking up. I hope your Thanksgiving was a good one. You may have seen Chip Roy on the floor. He's state legislature and what he had to say about the Republicans. And he simply made one statement. What have you done for me that I can run on? What has this majority house done for the American people that I can run on? It's a wonderful question. You may also have heard Harry Sasson, somebody I've had on this show quite often, who's trying to rebrand his image because being a mosquito on meth in a glass bottle is a little bit annoying. And even though he still sounds like that, he's trying to position himself as a player. Whether you know this or not, in 2016, there was a very large push by Donald Trump to own social media, which he did. Now there's a counter move where Democrats are paying people to actually say whatever the narrative is. It's not true. It doesn't matter. They are going out there and they're all repeating it. And when you repeat a lie often enough, people actually believe it. This is what's happening. I'm going to tell you why it's important, and we'll discuss it in 15 seconds on The Rebound. I'll be right back.
Do you want the truth? Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more f***ed up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree.
Either he has a toothache or he just looks good. For my podcast listeners, it's a picture of Harry Sasson with his Vidal Sassoon and Aquanet hair flowing and his face laying dormant in the crook of his hand. It's very masculine, I guess. I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is Harry Sasson. You may have seen him on my show. I've broken down his stuff, his petulant tirades, and I'm going to do it again today. Why is he important? Well, he speaks to millions of people on Twitter, and his posts immediately go viral, and most of them are nonsensical tirades about Donald Trump or guns or anything else. That's the flavor of the week. The 50 people who actually get paid to do this by the DNC are ramping it up. And there's this huge push that democracy once again is on the ballot, as it was in 2022, 2023 midterm, and 2024 will be the same. Where if Donald Trump gets elected, Adolf Hitler will come back and the Nazis will rise up, and, you know, all these type of crazy tropes. But there are a few things that he is saying that are true, and they need to be addressed, and we will tonight. I want to show you this video. I want to break it down for you. And of course, this fear-mongering about Donald Trump is the narrative here. But at the ending, I will tell you where I do agree with Harry Sasson. Let's go ahead and watch this, and we'll do it together. And I'll tell you what is absolutely BS and some of the things that might be on point here.
All right, here's the thing about the 2024 presidential election, and this is for everyone who's saying that they're not going to vote for Joe Biden. Let's just say, hypothetically, Donald Trump wins the election.
Two things. One, hypothetically, this is a horrible stance. You need to consider Donald Trump as a threat to the presidency. The polls are saying, hey, they're narrowing. And at the 16-month mark, Joe Biden had a lead that was incredible. Now that lead is dwindling, and it will continue, as all leads do, when we get closer to the general election. But there's an interesting thing that's happened over the last couple of weeks. Jill Stein entering the race, RFK Jr. still there, and Manchin talking about throwing his hat in the ring will take votes away from Joe Biden. We saw this is how Hillary Clinton got elected, minus Comey, who obviously came out and talked about the investigation, which hit her poll numbers. But also Jill Stein taking 3% of the vote will take away from Joe Biden. And this is a major concern, considering that really the race in 2020 was closer than a lot of people give it credit for. 3 states and 90,000 votes. That's not a lot, considering that a lot of the generational voters that are getting a little bit older are leaving and moving towards the Republican umbrella. But there is a large influx of young voters, which we'll get to in just a second. Let's listen to Harry as he peddles the lies to the DNC.
Hypothetically, Donald Trump wins the election. He gets inaugurated, he's back in the Oval Office, and he's president again. And then Trump starts to do all these terrible things, which he said he was going to do, like taking reproductive rights away from women, even more so, rounding up immigrants.
How do you take away reproductive rights even more so? Either you took them away or you didn't. And women, obviously, the voter base repudiated the abortion bills that were that were in place by Republicans. America has spoken. America has said, no, we do not want the extreme side of the argument. We also don't want the extreme left, which is unfettered access to abortion. We want compromise. Republicans paid with party seats because of this, seats that should have went to Republicans. And I hope Republicans have learned their lesson. For him to say that Donald Trump somehow waves a magic wand and can just go ahead and dissolve Roe v. Wade at the state level. That's not the way this works, folks. And in fact, state legislation reigns supreme over federal law. The president of the United States is not the president of the people. It's in his title. He's the president of the states. He's actually the president of the governors. He's once removed, twice removed, 3 times removed from the American people in the hierarchy of representation. You want to look at the city council. You want to look at the mayor. You want to look at the municipality. Those are truly the influence in your world, not Donald Trump sitting in the White House. Let's be realistic here.
In camps and deporting them, kicking people off of their health care. And on
deporting people, that's been going on. Barack Obama deported more people. Joe Biden deported more people than Donald Trump did in the first year of his presidency. Can we just be honest here? Let's stop scaring people with the deportation and concentration camps. And if anyone's renowned for concentration camps, folks, it's the Democrats. Just look who was in office during the Japanese internment camps. Thank you very much. Second, kicking you off of your health care. That's going to be the corporation or your health care provider. That has nothing to do with Donald Trump unless you're talking about Obamacare. And that ship has sailed a long time ago.
top of this, he doesn't give a damn as to what's happening in the Middle East. And
Actually, he does. The Abraham Accords, 3 peace treaties in the Middle East, recognizing Jerusalem, the anti-hate crime bills in Florida. He does care. And obviously, peace and prosperity was reigning supreme under Donald Trump. Look where Joe Biden is. The shady withdrawal from Afghanistan. We now have open conflict in the Middle East. It's not getting any better.
And then all these people who didn't vote for Joe Biden will be looking on saying, wow, this is terrible. What Donald Trump is doing to this country is awful. Who could have possibly seen this coming? We did. We all saw it coming. Donald Trump is dangerous to this country. That is what we're trying to tell you.
This is an emotional fallacy, and he's obviously trying to play to your emotions, that if Donald Trump's elected, democracy will fail. He will become a Nazi supreme Adolf Hitler part 2. Then that really is what a representative democracy is from an electoral standpoint. And what he is saying, which is to stop Donald Trump at all costs and don't even let him run, is really antithetical to what a representative democracy is. If anyone is being fascist, if anyone is a threat to democracy, it's people like him who don't want to let democracy take its due course.
Your vote matters, and you not voting for Biden or voting third party is a gift to Donald Trump. We saw him as president. It was awful. He's facing over 700 years in prison right now. He's a proven fraudster and sexual abuser. This is no joke. This is not a game. This is people's lives. Donald Trump...
People's lives are at jeopardy. Man, if you vote for Donald Trump, you're going to kill people. God will kill a puppy. This is nothing new. 700 years in prison? Really? Do you think the American people are buying that? Well, the poll numbers say something very different. We'll get to that in just a second.
...is a danger to you, me, and everyone around us. Do not make a bad mistake and let Trump get back into office. You may not love Joe Biden, but Donald Trump will be a hell of a lot worse. Please, let's be smart about this.
You may not like gonorrhea, but folks, herpes is so much worse. So just enjoy it. This is, once again, just what they do. There's no facts here. The whole run up to all of this was, I'm going to give you 3 key talking points that are going to validate everything I say posthumously from that event. And it doesn't. It doesn't have any bearing on the conversation. The true conversation is Donald Trump better for America or is Joe Biden? And the question can be argued both ways, that they either are or aren't. But what you don't get to do is sit here and pretend that Donald Trump is a Nazi who is going to subvert democracy by actually practicing democracy. It doesn't make much sense. Chip Roy makes some great points here. I want to watch this video next, which really calls the Republicans and put them on blast, which is what I want to try to do here with some of the numbers we're seeing coming out of the election.
One thing. I want my Republican colleagues to give me one thing, one, that I can go campaign on and say we did. One. Anybody sitting in the complex, if you want to come down to the floor and come explain to me one material, meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done besides, well, I guess it's not as bad as the Democrats.
That is truly where it seems to be. And these are the nuts straight. I'm just going to give it to you straight. Chip Roy has a point. Republicans have owned the House and they've done nothing with it, except for nominate 7 different people and say, oh, no, this guy's the speaker, removing McCarthy for wanting to propose a budget, making really consolatory type deals with Democrats to say, we'll go ahead and push this button. We'll go ahead and kick the can down the road a year, which is what every other speaker has done. Kick McCarthy out for saying that he didn't fulfill the things that he promised to do. Not have a person in backup. Go through a process that took weeks to pick somebody, just to have somebody who decided to go ahead and pass the budget and kick the can down the road, which is what McCarthy was going to do to begin with, and somehow say that that was better. The truth of the matter is that Democrats have a point when they say Republicans really don't know where the country's going. We don't have a party platform. We haven't had one since 2016. And what's going to happen after Trump? After 2024, let's say the worst happens and he doesn't win. Trump's not going to run again. What do we do as a party? Well, when you tear down DeSantis, when you tear down Donalds, when you tear down Nikki Haley, when you tear down Youngkin, what's going to be left in 2028? When all of a sudden the entire narrative is, oh, these people have learned so much in 4 years. I don't think America is going to buy it. We need party unity. We at least need to have a message that's consistent, yet we don't. The truth is 8 million, more than 8 million youths need to be engaged with. They'll reach voting age in 2024. And since the 2022 midterms, that is a staggering number in 2 years. If you think it gets better in 2032, Gen Z will overtake the boomers and Gen X as the largest voting demographic. It's not going to get any better. And unless we find a way to bring them under the umbrella like Ronald Reagan did, we will have generational change. That just lends support to the Democrats winning. Nearly half of the young people are people of color, approximately 45% of Gen Z electorate in 2024, including the 47% of newly eligible voters who have aged in, are youth of color. This is a big concern. And even though we're seeing a lot of the older demographic come in and the people who are reaching that 30 plateau, we're not seeing the mass droves of people coming into the Republican Party when they reach that 30-year age mark as we have in the past. That's been Republicans' bread and butter. We assume that young people believe in progressive policies. They want a piece of the pie. They want it now. So they vote Democrat. Then they realize that it's all a lie. And when they get their own home and they get their kids and they get, marriage and all of those things, they go, well, I want these things. I don't want anyone to take them away from me. So I'm going to go ahead and vote Republican. The only problem is this generation, they're not having kids. They're not getting married. They don't want the house. They rent. They want a car. They want some sort of foreign exotic pet. The last thing they want is what we want. And Republicans need to realize this and find a way to grab that diverse electorate and bring them in. Because in the South and the West regions, they're the key swing states. Asian, Black, and Latino youth make up a large share of the newly eligible voters. Now, although some of the poll numbers are good and we're seeing that matriculation from different demographics coming into the Republican Party, the question is will it circumvent the 8 million that are most assuredly going to predominantly vote Democrat? This is where the concern is from the Democrats with Jill Stein and RFK, and of course Manchin, where they're trying to dissuade you and telling you, don't, the big bad Nazi's coming. And he's going to go ahead and bring COVID back. And he's going to go ahead and subvert our democracy and deport all the people who are here illegally and take your health care away. If you look at the voting demographic, that's predominantly BIPOC voters in southern states. He takes care of the older generation in the southern states. This is a ploy to play on the emotional platitudes of Republican voters. We'll see if it works. It may not. But either way, it's going to be a fun ride to watch it. Folks, do me a favor. Follow, like, share, and subscribe. Come back tonight at 8 o'clock. We'll have a full house. All 5 hosts will be in the building. We'll have a great conversation, and we hope you will join us. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show, and I will see you next time.
Adjusting transmitter output. This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, and Mike. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on the Spreely.tv network and all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.